What is up, everybody? It is I, Ronin, and today I'm coming at you with a learning how to play for Magistus. So, if you are unaware, Magistus is a new archetype of spellcasters that has some of the old spellcaster archetypes as part of their thing. You got Crowley, Alistair, you got Vere from I think it's Witchcrafter. I'm not exactly sure what Zora was from, but the name sounds familiar. Actually, let's look that up. Actually, oh wait, there we go. No, I guess Zora is just this. There's also Crowley, but we aren't really running it. But yeah, so basically, yeah, it's a new spellcaster archetype that has a bunch of different spells that just do a bunch of different utility type things, and they focus a lot on equipping monsters from the extra deck to get various effects. And yeah, it's kind of neat. But for this deck, we're focusing on one of their new synchro monsters, Zora the Magistus Daemon. So we're going to go over that one first. It is a level 8 fire spellcaster synchro monster. 2900 attack, 1500 defense. Requires a spellcaster tuner and one or more non-tuner monsters. And when it is synchro summoned, you can equip a Magistus monster from the extra deck to it. And it stops your opponent from activating monster effects of the same type of Magistus extra deck monsters equipped to it. So, say for example, you summoned it and you equipped a Magistus Link monster. Your opponent could not activate the effects of Link monsters. Additionally, you are able to target a Magistus card you control, destroy it, and then special it from the graveyard. It is a hard once per turn. So yeah, the idea behind the deck is you just turbo this guy out, get a relevant extra deck monster type equipped, and just kind of sit on it with hand traps and whatever other negating things you have, like Secret Village, Solemn Judgment, Effect Veilers, etc., so forth. Now then, we're going to go ahead and talk about how you get to that point with a bit of a test hand. So I'll see you guys there. Okay, welcome to the test hand, and we are still doing replays, but I am trying this out as a simpler way to show things. And basically, as long as you have these two, you have full combo. So let's go ahead and show it. So first, you're going to summon Vere. This can be a normal or a special summon. Doesn't really matter much because there are Trice Magistus results. But whenever it's normal or special, either way, it lets you search a Magistus spell trap, which we're going to do. In 1 second, my settings are being very weird. Weird. Okay, I guess I'll figure that out later. So you normal summoned it to search a Magistus spell trap, which is going to be searching your Magistus Vritra Magistus, which is a monster reborn for Magistus, which allows you to revive level 4 lower monsters. So you're going to add that to your hand. Next step is to special summon your Magistus Moon Maiden Artemis, because it only requires a level 4 lower spellcaster. Now, on the field, it doesn't do much. However, when another Magistus is normal or special, it can equip itself to that monster. So we're then going to activate the monster reborn we searched to revive our Vere, which will trigger Artemis's effect to put it on to equip it. And now we can get into the other Magistus gimmick, which is while the extra deck monsters are equipped, most of them have extra effects. In the case of Artemis, you can, once per turn, search a Magistus monster. So, because we already have the Crowley in hand, we're going to search another Vere. Next step, we're going to activate the effect of Crowley in hand, which is to discard or tribute a spellcaster to special summon itself. Like that. After which, we are going to go into a rank 4, which is going to be Rilona the Magistus Glass Witch, because it requires 2 level 4 spellcasters of different attributes, and if you have to go for other stuff, Crowley can change his attributes, so that's pretty good. So we're going to go into that in defense mode. Then we are going to activate the effect of our Xyz by detaching, and this is important, detach Crowley, which will allow us to special summon a spellcaster from our deck, so we're going to summon our Zora. After which, we can now go into the graveyard effects. So, both Crowley and Vare have the effect that you can banish them from the graveyard to equip a Magistus with another Magistus in your grave. So it doesn't really matter which one you banish here. I would usually prefer to Vare. But we banish it, targeting Zoroa, which will allow us to equip our Artemis. And while the search is once per turn, when Zoroa is equipped, he allows you to special summon a spellcaster from the grave or hand in defense position. So we're going to use this effect to resummon our Crowley, who is unfortunately negated. However, because Zoro is a tuner, we can now synchro into the level 8 Synchro Zora. Like that. And from there, you can use Zoro's effect to equip a monster from the extra deck. I usually prefer to equip our Magistus Dragon Vathram because it does give Crowley destruction protection from spells and traps, as well as a construct-like effect. So we go ahead and put that there. So we have that. The next step is to activate the other thing we sent, because the banish effects are hard once per turns. So we banish our Crowley, targeting our Zoroa, at which point we are able to equip our Moon Maiden, putting a activation lock on Link and Synchro monsters. However, you can generally do it to other things. So, to go over the end board, we have a 2800 body that we'll be able to special summon from the deck later. VFD-ish for Links, as well as whatever other monster type is relevant. Spell Trap Destruction Protection for our big boss monster. Additionally, we also have our Vitra in the Grave, which has its own banish effect. If a Magistus card in your spell and trap would be destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can banish this from your graveyard instead. Each effect is a hard once per turn. So basically, this does also protect us from stuff like Lightning Storm, Feather Duster, Cosmic Cyclone, Twin Twisters. So we are able to maintain our protection at least once per turn. And that's kind of the main play. Now, obviously, only having to really open 2 cards to do stuff like that is pretty great. It's pretty good, but not necessarily the most consistent. So it is very possible to do as well if you just have like a extender. Which is why we run a few other things. Trick Clown obviously is able to special summon itself from the graveyard and is level 4, so that's pretty great for us. Summoner Monk can get any of our spellcasters barring Effect Veiler out of the deck, and because generally speaking you just need Vare and Crowley for the combo, that's pretty good, an extra way to get to it. Effect Veiler isn't, well, it's a hand trap, but it's also a spellcaster, so we can potentially use it for things. Yeah. The other things we sort of have to support this is Paw of Desires. Anything that's relevant is ran at free, so very good to have. Trice Magistus is a way to special summon things from hand if you lack the resources, as well as acting as battle protection for your equipped Magistus monsters. And Magistus Invocation is just a one-of searchable thing that's pretty great. It's the fusion spell for Magistus, and it lets you summon out your Saint Iway, or the Spell Spirit, if you're in the TCG. But no, it's all pretty good. Additional things we also have Magistus Theurgy, which allows you to target a Magistus you control to equip it with a Magistus monster from the deck, extra deck, or graveyard, or face-up field as well. So that's pretty great. Another thing you can open to just put another thing on your Zora. Additional lockdowns we have are our Secret Village with the Spellcasters. Obviously, we're a Spellcaster type deck, so that helps out a lot. Then we also have our Solemn Judgment, which is pretty good as well. It's another negate to have. And then finally, we also have Foolish Burial to potentially send revival targets for our Zoroa, as well as our Vitra. And I believe that's everything in the main deck. We went over Zoroa, which is the main one. Talked about our Vafram, as well as our Artemis. Now let's go over the things you are less likely to equip right off the bat. That being our Magistus Saint Iway, or Iway, the Magistus Spell Spirit, as well as Nina Ruru, or as well as just Nina Ruru actually. Starting with Iway. So it is a fusion monster. Requires a Magistus and a Spellcaster. Interestingly enough, a Fiend, but has 2,000 attack and 2,800 defense, as well as being level 8, so pretty good. While it is an equipped spell, the equipped monster gains 1,000 attack and defense, and during the main phase as a quick effect, you can target another face-up monster on the field while it's a monster. It will equip to that monster, and you gain control of it. So, yeah, it's pretty good. However, if it's a opponent's monster, that monster cannot activate its effects, which is unfortunate. But it's a big buff as well as a potential steal. I like this one at 2. You can really run it at 1, though. That's more personal preference. Beyond that, though, we have Nina Ruru, which, outside of letting a equipped monster attack twice, is also spell trap control. Because it lets you target a Magistus in your spell and trap card zone and a spell trap your opponent controls, and you destroy both of them. So that's a pretty good thing to have. Everything else is kind of just a additional option. If we ever want to upgrade our Rilona, we can go into Zeus. Because we have double spellcasters as well as trick clowns, we're able to make our Trapeze Magician. Tornado Dragon, generic rank 4, that's just quick effect spell destruction. Baguska, in case we ever just need to make a Baguska. Borload Savage Dragon, in case the negate is more ideal than the lockdown. We also have our Boral Sword for just OTK nonsense. And yeah, that's basically the deck. The side deck is pretty basic. Free Lightning Storm in case we want to go second. Free Ash Blossom because some decks really lose to it. 2 Cosmic Cyclone in case we were dealing with like, I don't know, Golden Lord, Eldritch shit. Droplet in case we need quick removal. Red Reboot for trap heavy matchups, as well as Burial from the Different Dimension in case we ever want to put our Crowleys or our Vares back into the graveyard, which is pretty great. But yeah, so that's the deck and the ideal combo. Now though, if you're new here, we do go over a replay or 2 to sort of show what the deck does in an actual game and tricky situations, what I did like, what I did not like, etc., and so forth. And yeah, all that being said, I will see you guys in the replay. Alright, welcome to the replay with Fried Chips. We are Tab as per usual, and this is kind of, well, things are a little complicated with this hand, but they're end up fine. But yeah, our opponent's playing DDD, we are going first. Let's get into it. So, we're going to start off by desiring, go ahead and draw, and there we go, we have the full combo plus plenty of interrupt material, and a little bit of wiggle room because we already have our Vritra in hand. So we're going to go ahead and start the combo as was shown earlier, just searching another Theurgy, because, you know, why not? Revive, go ahead and get Moon Maiden on there, get our search for a spellcaster, summon Crowley, etc., so forth. Just keep going with it. You know, you already saw this move, so we're going to end on the suspected board with with the usual idea of Synchro and Lynx being locked out for now. Big body on the field. Obviously, we have if our opponent is playing something that isn't these two, we have our quick effect Theurgy here in order to, you know, equip the appropriate monster type should we need to, as well as Secret Village of the Spellcasters, keeping them from activating any spell card, which is great against DDD, you know, a pendulum deck. But that's basically our turn. As well as the effect Valor in hand, we are in a super safe position here. So our opponent's just going to go ahead and double set past. It is on to us. We're going to use Glass Witch's effect to summon our Zorua. From there, we're going to activate Zorua's other effect, which will equip a monster. So we basically got the stun turn, and now, and to turn free, we are able to equip the rest of the monster types that are necessary for us to get our full lockdown, which is pretty good. So from there, we have basically as strong as we're going to be. He goes and activates Contract to go ahead and get the Orthros. Then going to attack over the Ghost and attack for a little more damage. And use Artemis in main phase 2 to go ahead and just search the Crowley for a little bit of follow-up play next turn. Summon it, make another Daemon, and go ahead and equip that as well. So, you know, 2 rather large boys. And obviously against DDD, beyond just pendulums, also locks them out of all of their extra deck monsters, so that's very bad. However, opponent's going to go ahead and draw, set, pass again. It is on to us. We are going to just attack, because we are not scared of spell traps as far as damage goes, so even if that was like a mirror force, not too worried. Our opponent is going to be able to summon the Orthros, move into their turn. Still not really able to do much. I mean, they Synchro Summon and get a Fusion off, but neither of their effects will be able to be activated, not to mention that they can't beat over anything on our board, which is pretty great for us. So I am certainly happy with that. Then it is going back to us, and we just attack for game. And so I feel like this really shows the strength and weakness of the deck, because on the one hand, against decks like DDD or Dragon Link, or I guess even like Speedroid, anything that's super extra deck reliant, if you can go first and if you can get your combo off, which is a little bit fragile to be fair, but if you can do it, it's, you know, it's awesome. Like you lock them effectively out of the game unless they can get something that can beat over 29 or 3900, or I guess like a Kaiju, maybe, which is pretty good for us against extra deck heavy decks. However, there are other decks that don't really use the extra decks, some not at all, like say Monarch, True Draco, anything like that really, where it's just like, I mean, you make a beat stick, that's pretty cool, but that's sorta all you're doing. Like the lockdown effects will have just no impact on them, so it's really just, can you make the biggest monster, or are you going second so you can make Iway and steal? Like, it's a very cool deck. Like, it's a very cool deck. I'll say, as far as like a lockdown sort of strategy goes, I think it's neat, but it's really a game 2 type thing, if that makes sense, because you don't know what your opponent is playing, and once you do, you'll be able to shut it down pretty effectively. However, before then, it kind of feels like blind first, hope they play Synchros and Links, which, to be fair, a lot of decks do, but like, it's still very risky. It's still very risky to do. And, yeah, so neat deck. It's a neat deck, but, you know, let me know what you guys think. Is there anything I could have done better? Anything I could have done worse? Any cool techs or decks you want me to play? I am always open for suggestions. And, yeah, all that being said, like if you liked, comment if you had something to say, and subscribe if you want some more. This has been Ronin, signing off.